The American people need to have a president who they can trust what he says about it, that he is going to act rationally about it. In moments like this is where the credibility of a president is most needed, as he explains what we should and should not do. This is no time for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia, and fear-mongering to lead the way instead of science.
Okay, that was Joe Biden blasting President Trump in late January for the travel ban on China. After scientists testified before Congress that the travel ban did work and save lives, Joe Biden then flip-flopped. Biden in February through March was repeatedly telling the public don't panic, even after the WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Now, Biden top advisor Ron Klain also earlier this year called the coronavirus response from Americans a, quote, fear epidemic. He also retweeted New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio telling people to still go out into crowds. But Biden now claiming that the president's remarks to Bob Woodward about COVID-19 are, quote, almost criminal. Let's welcome Republican from Georgia, Doug Collins. He's on House Judiciary. Congressman, we love having you on. What are your thoughts about all of this? I mean, the Biden and the Democrats barely mentioned COVID at the Democrats' debates earlier this year. The first time it came up really was on February 25th.
Well, it's just been amazing. If you look under the dictionary under hypocrisy, besides finding the entire Democratic Party and Nancy Pelosi, you find Joe Biden, who's been on the I'm trying to find the bathroom in the basement tour for almost 9 months now, because he went into hiding because he couldn't handle his own campaign and then tried to blame the president for not having a response to the pandemic that we have seen be truthful and honest with people. Go back to his own words there just a moment ago, Liz. When we actually listen to what he's saying, he was trying to make a political point about a president who was actually taking action to close off China from our borders to protect people, which actually turned out to be the best thing he could do. And yet, at that point in time, he was calling him xenophobic. He was calling him every name in the book because they were on a political agenda painting this president as somebody who was out of touch. And the real reason is they're out of touch. They're using the pandemic to stoke fear against the president. And for Bob Woodward's book to come out at this point and for people to talk about this, this is just simply another tool in the Democrats' toolbox to say we think that we can beat Donald Trump in a little over 50 days. And they're using the pandemic and their own blunders. They're hiding. And the media is doing it for them. I mean, all of this right now, they're not going back to what you showed earlier about Nancy Pelosi in Chinatown. They're not going back to the New York Times quoting an epidemiologist talking about there's more fear than anything else here. They're not going back to the issue that they were saying go out and do these things because when they got caught, they didn't want to admit they were wrong. They just wanted to blame the president.
You know, the Democrats accused President Trump of calling the coronavirus a, quote, hoax, but the hoax the president was referring to were the Democrat attacks on his administration's handling of the outbreak, not the virus itself. You know, the reports are surfacing again from Politico and CBS in 2009 that the Obama administration botched the response to the 2000 swine flu epidemic with vaccine shortfalls, fights over funding, contradictory messaging. The Obama administration suddenly told states to shut down their testing for swine flu without explanation. And Ron Klain, Biden's chief of staff at the time, said last year that the Obama administration didn't do anything right and was pretty lucky here. Your reaction?
Well, my reaction is the news media doesn't talk ill about its own family. I mean, they have been protecting the Obama-Biden administration for years. They don't ever go back and look at it. We've on a different topic besides the pandemic. You and I have been talking for years about the cover-up that went on with Comey and McCabe and the DOJ under Obama-Biden. They don't want to say anything that would mess up what their perception of reality was during that time. And the reason is they don't want to have to admit the truth that Donald Trump has been fighting this virus in the best way possible. He's been truthful to the American people. And really, you do need to keep people calm. You do need to let them look to the facts. You do need to point them to the right direction with our government agencies telling them what to do. What you don't need to do is what we saw from Democrat politicians and still do all over the country right now, where the governor of New York was sending people back to nursing homes. That's the criminally negligent part right there. When you see governors who try to cover up what they were doing, when they were actually sending these high-risk elderly folks back to nursing homes where we saw deaths, we saw lives ruined because of their poor inaction. You never see anybody talk about that because they only want to have a political angle at Donald Trump, who is actually doing the things to get the help where it was needed.
You mean Democrats aren't talking about what
Democrats
happened in New York State, right?
No, Democrats in the news media don't talk about it. I mean, the mainstream news media, you would never know what actually happened. They only talk about it when they're pushed into a corner. It's only places like this where we actually get to try and talk about the real results of what's happening, and also the real results of actually the president understanding that not only did we do what was right in getting us back to where we are, but the economy, like my state of Georgia and others, that is back growing again, and people are getting back to work, and people are getting back to school, and that is helping where we need to be. They don't want to talk about that either, because that's something that they had predicted doom and gloom for, that the mainstream media and the Democrats thought that we need to be shut down forever, and that's what I'm talking about.
All right, Congressman, it's great to have you on. Come back soon, okay?
Look forward to it. Let's take care.